Hey, so today I'll be talking about Canto 17 and 18 of Dante's Inferno. Okay, so let's get into Canto 17. A scholar named Paolo Chirachi, he said that Canto 17 is not merely a transitional moment in Dante's journey. Its remarkable features make it one of the most memorable cantos in the entire comedy. So, in this canto, Dante followed Virgil into the last ring of the seventh circle. At the entrance of this ring was a horrific beast they called Geryon that guarded the section. In Dante's Inferno, there were always mythological creatures that was guarding their respective rings. We will be looking at Geryon specifically later in this video. There Dante saw sand and flames down the edge. Here Dante also saw the sinners in this ring for the first time. These people were put in a space where there were flames coming down from above, and the ground was also burning hot. Thus they would have to shield their body with their hands from the flames and hopped on the ground constantly to avoid the heat from the ground. In Dante's description in the book Inferno, he described, just like the ways of dogs in summer when they scratch, sometimes with paw and others with muzzle. They behave as though fleas or flies or gadflies with their limbs. The crime in this circle is usury. So those souls, they were all moneylenders before they entered the hell. Usury is considered the violence towards art, which is a violence against God's grandchild. In Christian perspective, nature is God's child, and art emulates nature, so art is basically the God's grandchild. Dante went closer to the sinners, but he could not recognize anyone's faces. The only thing that was identifying those sinners' identity was the colorful purses that were hanging on their necks. However, one of them noticed Dante, and he shouted at Dante very rudely. The sinner also yelled at Dante that his neighbor would soon come down and join him. He even he twisted his mouth and made a grimace. This is particularly interesting because in Dante's perspective, in order to get into purgatory and then enter paradise, you gotta actually repent genuinely to get out of hell. And those souls from all these different levels, they were all stuck in hell because they weren't repenting. Now let's look at the guardian beast of this ring, Geryon. So Geryon was a giant, a legendary king of the Balearic Islands. What he did was he fed his flocks of sheep with the human flesh of his guest, whom he treacherously killed. Geryon was said to have three bodies in one. He has the face of an innocent man, the body of a serpent, and the tail of a scorpion. As far as we know, all these three bodies were of the same nature, fraud. Although fraud is not the main theme of this circle in hell, it is the main punishment in the eighth circle. This was also Dante's intention to tell the audience that Dante and Virgil were about to enter the eighth circle after the seventh, and eighth circle was where fraud was punished. The second interesting in this canto would be those colorful purses that were hanging on the necks of the souls. These purses were the only identification of those people in their circle. The sinner who talked to Dante was wearing a white purse with the pregnant soul portraying Asia. Dante the poet knew the neighbor of the sinner. His name was Betteliano del Dente, who was a moneylender. It's interesting how Dante related the people in his real life into his book. Now we'll move on to Canto 18. By riding on Geryon's back, Dante and Virgil entered the eighth circle of hell, which punished different levels of fraud. In Canto 18, they visited the first and the second pouches of the eighth circle. The place is called Malabogi, which is a combination of Mal and Bogia. Mal means evil, Belgia means pouch, which means this place is basically an evil pouch. This place is built entirely with iron-colored stones and was enclosed by circumstantial wall. Right in the center was a white pit, which has a circular band that was divided in 10 valleys. To connect those valleys, there were a series of small bridges. The first group of sinners Dante saw were naked. They were savagely whipped by demons with horns behind them. These souls were pimps. They were seducers. The second punishment that Dante saw was really bad. Dante and Virgil moved on. Before they could actually see anything, they heard screams and noise from people's puffing snouts and by their hands striking themselves. This place was so stanchful and filled with mold. Dante saw there were people immersed in human waste. The author John D. Sinclair described in his book, "The fraudulent who have abused their human privilege of reason are sunk in the gloomy ditches which are the most of Satan's stronghold, and the stone of iron color of which all their prison is formed tells of the hardening the moral sensibility which comes from persistent fraud." Here, Dante recognizes two of the sinners. One of them was a prostitute named Thaisis. Thaisis was a seducer and a flatterer. In her lifetime, she undertook a lifelong penance at the order of a local abbot. She was put in a cell where she had to take care of all her needs in, as a mirror image of the privy pool that she was in after she went to hell. So that's all I learned from Canto 17 and 18 of Dante's Inferno. I hope you guys liked the video and that you're already taking a lot of good notes. So here I'm gonna give you guys like a summary about what I just said. In Canto 17, Canto 17 punishes usury, the moneylanders, and the punishment is the flying flames and the burning ground. And usury is a violence against God's grandchild, which is art, the colorful pearls that hung on the soul's necks were their only identification. And Gurion were the guarding beasts of the third ring of the seventh circle, and he represented fraud. In Canto 18, Virgil and Dante arrive by riding on Gurion's back, and last but not least, punishes seducers and flatterers. The punishment is being whipped naked and being sunk in human privies. Why would he be the guardian in circles? In some is some different, some interesting, and that's the main reason why she called but